Hi, Neil. Thank you so much for coming on again. This is such a, you know, the time that we have is such a wonderful time. But before we go on, let's invite our friends. Neil, would you like to do that?
Welcome, listeners and watchers. It's great to have you as part of this community where we are looking to engage and encourage and empower our aging selves and friends, including yourselves. Our four pillars are mental, the physical, the social, and the spiritual. So we'll be looking at all those pillars as we continue our conversations.
Yes, exactly. Thank you so much, Neil. And also, of course, we would love for you, as we are building community too, we would love for you to subscribe and to leave us comments, whether it's good or bad, and what you need us to improve, and themes that you want us to focus on or to cover, and give us a thumbs up as well if that suits you. So thank you so much, friends, for coming. I'm Amie, and Neil, my co-host. So Neil, we have been on this for, when did we start? Trying to figure out when when
It
did
was,
we
uh,
start?
it was near the first Tuesday of March, was it not?
No, we you and I tried to do some recording back in February.
Hmm.
And you're right. The 3rd of March is when we launch, but we have been trying to figure out how to use and to work the camera and the mic and all things that comes with podcasting. And I remember our first time. Oh my word, we it did not go very well.
We spent an hour solving technical problems.
Yes.
I don't know if we managed to solve any of them.
We have been trying to improve as we go along. And maybe we needed that space where we just figure out what we are trying to do. Um, what was your memory the first 4 weeks? What was back in February? What was your memory?
Well, everything was very new and very fresh back then. I remember a concerted effort to reach out to the community, invite people to join us, and also uh, to look to people who might be interested in taking a larger view and sponsoring or becoming partners with us.
Mhm.
So we put quite a bit of work into that, and then at the same time, we were developing our skills and our technique to actually conduct interviews as newbie podcasters.
Exactly. The highlight, or I would say, similar, my experience in that we we reach out to friends and our networking networks rather, and we were very, I think we were very fortunate that we had booked the month of March without any trouble. And of course, we continue to engage the greater community, and we continue to uh, inspire and through storytelling. And so for that, we were very grateful. And of course, we continue to hopefully improve, and we continue to bring more people that can tell their stories. What's what would you say your top? maybe top three highlights since we launched in March 3rd.
Well, you're asking for three highlights, and we have three episodes, each
Oh,
of which was a highlight in itself. I think the important thing is that we continue to ask ourselves, why are we doing this? What is the purpose? And who is who is going to benefit from this work that we're doing? We really want to make sure that we are providing something of value to you, our listeners.
that's awesome, Neil. I was just thinking about because this week I had some conversation about someone who was thinking about starting a podcast. And one of the things that she mentioned, she said, "Oh, I want to do a podcast because her friend had a podcast." And so she said that that friend was making lots of money. And so for her, she's starting a podcast to supplement an income. And I'm like, mm, you may not want to start your goal thinking that you will make money right away, because you need to be on it for a while until you start making some income, if any. And I think, as you said, it's important to know our why. And that's probably something you and I can share a little bit about that why. You did already mention it earlier. Um, so maybe for someone who didn't know us, Neil, by the way, Neil and I have been friends for many, 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 many years. I think it was 2000, started 2008.
Yes, that sounds about right. It
Yeah.
was well before COVID, I know that.
Yeah. And it was through City View Church, where I met you, and we have been friends for that long. Um, we've seen the ups and downs of both of our lives, and uh, so yeah, I think I'll Neil. Why don't you start your why, and then I'll chime in.
Well, thank you for taking me back to that encounter back in the mid to late 2000s to me, because that reminds me of an important event of that time. I was invited to give a talk at City View, having
Mhm.
recently experienced a lot of personal loss in the death of both of my parents, and and possibly by then my brother as well.
Mhm.
No, I think my brother died later during COVID. But I was experiencing all these losses and feeling very isolated. And I was at the same time realizing that this was not an uncommon experience, that everyone
Mhm.
goes through this at some time of life. It was just new for me. So I wanted to connect with people and to build that sense of connection, to the sense that, I'm part of a community of
Mhm.
people, all of whom are suffering, all of whom need to tell their stories, need to be heard and
Mhm.
understood, and need to connect with each other.
And we, you and I are very similar to, or we have, because we have journey in life, and we have seen the epidemic of loneliness and um, social isolation, not only in Vancouver where we live, but also in Canada and around the world. And that is where I have devoted my life in addressing it. And consequently, I uh, started a nonprofit called Beyond the Conversation, who mainly really tackled that issue. And we remained, um, outside of the government funding, because we wanted to ensure that we remain authentic and not governed by or change who we are by the funding um, requirements. And to me, my mindset it's always, well, how do we bring uh, the community in a way that it is asset based community development, and that I don't have all the answer, the community has the answer for our troubles. So how do we bring community together and actually realizing that they have something to offer, right? So it could be a child could uh, could bring or could carry a two cups if and be within that community and being included, as well as the retired seniors, the 100 years old seniors. They have so much wisdom that they could also share. So my mentality is, how do we actually bring that community together that is inclusive, that is safe, that is welcoming, that they find their sense of purpose and sense of safety, but that they have the agency to be what they're called to be, including their gifts, their talents, and their whatever that they're whatever it's going through in their lives, whether it is past or present. So that's always been, I think, this because you have been also involved partly with Beyond as a board of director. And so how do we create that sense of community? And that is I this is the branch, the Modern Seniors podcast is the branch of the Beyond the Conversation, because we see the need of really focusing on storytelling uh, with the experiences that modern seniors are having.
Yes, and there's a lot about life that makes us want to isolate ourselves, especially, and it's especially easy to do in modern times because we have all this entertainment that just comes to us without having to leave the house. We have the answers to any question we can think of without having to leave the house or connect with another person. We can have all our food delivered to our door without having to go anywhere, to expose ourselves, to be vulnerable, to take some risk and chance, and to meet another person.
Yes, very true. Can I share with you why this is very important? So I grew up actually in the Philippines, right? Where community there is a big, big part of your life. Not only that, so you have your large family, which I grew up from a very large family of 10. And then you have the sub community that includes everybody. And, because you grew up in a village where you have no secrets, right? So everybody knew you, and everybody becomes your auntie, your uncle, your grandpa, your grandma, and your sister, and your brother. So this is how it functioned in most Asians community. I maybe now have changed because technology have crawled into each of those neighborhoods. So I don't know how much of a big change, but I noticed when I came to Canada, when I arrived, it wasn't as prominent as severe because technology was still advancing or growing. So in early 90s, and I didn't see as much of that, the seclusion, and even now a toddler has a device in his or her hands as young as maybe 1 year old. So I see a lot of this. I think the breaking of society. I think in early 2000, and it was shocking to me. And my heart always my heart always desire to have to provide a sense of that safe community that builds upon the commonality of just being a human being, like we we all have our own issues, we all have our own things that we're struggling, but for sure there is some goodness in humanity, isn't
Yes. Yes, we need to be part of a community to survive. We don't even have our own identity without the community
there? Yeah.
to which we belong. And this is something that my insight was it's so easy to forget that and to lose sight of it and to have it gradually deteriorate without even being aware of it. And it's not until some big event happens that you're made aware all of a sudden. But then, if you don't grab that insight and say, I'm going to do something with this right now, then it's also easy to lose that insight and forget about it again and go back to becoming more and more isolated and cut off from the community.
Yeah, exactly. And this is what gives me hope for our podcast, The Modern Seniors, because so far we have invited um, Andre Baron, and he spoke about the technology. And we're excited, again, we're excited of having him back. And we have Carol Mitz Murray. Do you remember what Carol? Um, ah, it was on leadership.
Yes. Carol wrote a fantastic book called Naked Leadership or The Naked Leader or something like
Yeah, I think naked leadership,
that. Hmm.
and she spoke about her own experience, and there's definitely we didn't focus on ageism, but we hear that a lot from both Carol and Barbara Kirby, who was our guest last Monday, and or this past Monday, and there's even you hear about her story. She talks about even in the healthcare, there is that a bit of that ageism because of her father. It was his father, I think, who was hospitalized, and they just given up on him and waiting for him to die. Whereas for her as a caregiver, she wanted to ensure that her father will have um, a chance of quality of life while he still lives, because he wanted to live. I think that was in the story.
Yes, Barbara was very fortunate to have the time and energy to be able to look after both of her parents for an
Yeah,
extended period of time.
yeah. 15 years. It was 15 years, I
Yeah,
think.
that's right.
She
15
said
years of that.
15 years. And so this is the kind of storytelling that I think it's so amazing to have, because even the time pass on, we can go back to that and relearn again, and because it is in the air, therefore we can find it easily with just our fingers when we know how to find them. What do we look forward to now that we look back on our struggles, the challenge of working technology for our good, for our advantage, in ensuring that we are ready when we launch. And sure enough, we weren't ready. Something just wasn't good, wasn't right. My voice sounded like a Mickey Mouse. Neil was always fine, and I couldn't find the buttons. And so it's the problem. It's not the app. It's, I think, the human trying to figure out. But for me, I am getting better. I am actually, my confidence in starting is getting better. Like for 2 weeks now that I didn't ask my husband to help me figure out or troubleshoot. So I am getting better. What about you, Neil?
Yes, I'm feeling more confident, and I'm feeling that we are working better together as a team and
Yeah.
learning to bring out the story from our guests. All of that takes practice too. It's not just the technology, but it's the human side as well.
Absolutely. I think every week, because our goal is to invite the every new guest, and that alone has a different level of challenges, because we don't fully know the person, because that person encompass so many stories and so many experience. Where do you focus on, right? And so I think what I really enjoy, Neil, is the question, like, as they tell a story, you and I, we share when to ask, and like this idea of, when do you there is a term for it, when do you break that story and then ask your question, interrupt. When do you interrupt the in the storytelling to ask that question, so that it brings us to another level of goodness, like.
Yes. This reminds me of storytelling with children, and children will always break into the story with their own questions, um, which makes it so much more fun, in my
Yes.
experience, than just reading to someone who's just sitting there listening.
Yes, yes. That reminds me of your story yesterday. You went and you said it's very it's it's harder to focus, and that's what we're trying not to do, is to have a very dry, like a book story, reading from the book. It's We lose, I'm sure, uh, in that format. I will probably the first one to uh, be unfocused, because my brain constantly wanting to ask the questions. Um, so we are really we are entering April, and we have guests coming in, and we're really excited for you, friends out there who are listening, tuning in, to discover and to tune in. What do you look forward to, Neil, in April?
Well, I look forward to hearing from our listeners and viewers, and also perhaps to get some recommendations from them as to who they would like to hear that we can invite. Or perhaps we have some listeners who would be interested in appearing themselves and telling their stories.
Exactly. So we still have a few, uh, one week in April that we need to fill in, as well as definitely in May, and we are excited and to continue. Yeah, continue to journey with us, continue to grow with us, continue to build this community with us. And we're really looking forward to growing and maturing this podcast. And we look forward to improving ourselves, and we look forward to inviting people in. And Neil, yeah, we're very excited. And thank you so much, Neil. I could not have done this. Honestly, I was just thinking about it yesterday, and I said, I'm having so much fun. And I imagine if I'm doing this alone, oh, probably not as fun. And so I am so, so grateful that we are doing this together. And we are sharing each other's lives too, as well as supporting each other, right? We have done that for many, many years, and we continue to do so.
It's a very important message to bring that you, our listeners and viewers, have value. You can have a positive impact on the community. Your memories and stories are important, and there's a whole community here to support you. We want to bring you together and to build that community together, and to communicate to everyone who's aging that they're worthwhile. We are valuable. We have value to offer to the community. Just because technology may seem to be advancing more quickly than we can get a handle on it, that does not diminish our value. Just because our physical abilities may not be what they used to be, does not diminish our value. And just because society doesn't seem to value us as much as it used to, that does not diminish our value.
And friends, as we wrap up, remember, live boldly, continue to engage. You are enough. We see you, we hear you, and you matter. So thank you so much. And if you haven't done so, please subscribe, like, and leave us your comment. We'll see you in early April. From Neil and I, and beyond the conversation and the modern seniors, have a wonderful day.